Well, I've been watching a number of things that were said about this flag, and I'm going to tell you right out. I think they're all wrong, and none of them really. I don't know if they don't see it or they don't have the balls to say it, but basically, this flag was a flag of rebellion. No matter how you put it, I know like the Southerners don't like to say it's a rebellion flag because we seceded from the Union legally over the tariff issue when they raised the tariff 250% on cotton. Well, that's what happened right as soon as Abe Lincoln got to be president. But it's a lot more than even that. I'm going to tell you, it's basically about anti-taxes. It's not about heritage. You might say that, but somebody doesn't pick up a rifle and try to fight against the North over heritage. And you could say, some people might say it's over slavery, but I did look at all the actual documents from way back when. About 98% of the Southerners did not even own any slaves. As there was people on the top that had a lot, so it wasn't over that. And also, there was absolutely no political party in the United States that was running on an anti-slavery platform in the existing where it existed in the South. It was over issues over new territories. But I also got to tell you, there's a lot of crap coming up today in modern day society. One thing I never liked, they used to call it the personnel department. Now they call it human resources. Human resources. It's like, what can I get out of you for what I pay you? Which is exactly how it kind of works anyway. I mean, it's somehow that's, when people look solely at the money, it's more fair that way in some ways. But then again, it's got no human element. I'll call this flag also an anti-corporate flag, and not corporation is in the fact that you got like a small operation of 2 or 3 people. I'm talking about the corporatocracy, where they freaking own your ass one way or the other. Or they make you all these promises and they don't happen, right? But let me put it to you this way, everybody's got it wrong about this flag, basically. And I'm going to tell you a couple of things. I think there's a lot of scams coming out from a lot of different angles. One thing I was always wondering about is, too, I don't know if, I listened to a lot what Louis Farrakhan said, Nation of Islam, and a lot of things he says are correct well, not exactly 100% correct, because he goes too far in some ways. But, he talks about, the bankers and, the people on the top that basically got everybody by the cojones over with money and how they basically got a racket going. But, the other thing is, I don't get is, if you see, I don't know what the deal is with him. Maybe he's a setup, because I know he's been funded by foreign governments. But the thing is, Islam has always been a religion that there were slave traders, man. They were the biggest slave traders in the world there were. Actually, Obama's lineage doesn't go back to American black. It goes back to Kenyan black Muslim slave traders. That's why I know that guy's a tool of the elite all the way. But I want to actually put forward that, to me, and I really, the thing is, what I really can't stand though is when something becomes popular. Just right now, this flag is definitely not popular. Definitely not. It's popular in certain areas, but it's not popular in general. That's for sure. But when something becomes popular in general, it kind of like gets lame. In some ways, I kind of like the flag now because it's like it's not popular. It actually is something that, hey, I'm rebelling against something, and that's exactly what I think of it as. This thing where they had the so-called conservative Tea Party, man, that was so damn lame. And, it got co-opted by George Soros. Boy, I'd like to see him try to freaking Soros would never co-opt a Confederate party. Ha! Have fun. But, I don't want to make it look like it's a white thing. I want it to make it look like it's an American thing all the way, of people that stand on their own 2 feet. That's what I really want it to be. See, I don't even get where these white people are talking about, it's about heritage, not hate. No, it's about screw big government. That's what it's about. It's about screw excessive, rape you, got you over a barrel taxes. That's what that flag, that's why they broke away. The guy Abe Lincoln was an opportunist guy. Like I said, he used to, I didn't say this before, but if you look back in Abe Lincoln's history, he originally was an attorney for, on the side of people trying to get back their slaves. And he was defending those guys. And then he flipped positions 100%. He was just looking for whatever which way pays the most. Now, obviously, I'm not looking for the most pays the most on this video, because this is like a topic that a lot of people won't touch. And I'm actually I'm actually touching on this topic in a different way other people aren't. And it's the way I see it. It's not the way, it's actually the way it is. I don't know why these yo-yos are so afraid to say exactly why the hell the South rebelled. The South rebelled. They did rebel. They broke away. I mean, they didn't if they broke away and nobody tried to force them back in the Union, yeah, there would have been no war. But that was not the case. So basically, they were saying, screw the federal government. You're not the authority. To hell with you. And I kind of like that shit, to tell you the truth. I like that aspect of it. I do. It's like, screw the power. You know what I mean? That's what it means. That's really what this flag means. Screw all the freaking excessive rules, all the ridiculous, myopic, petty dictators, the whole 9 yards. That's what it means to me. So that's why actually the powers that be are propagandizing so many different things against this flag. And like I said, it's, I don't know what it, this flag didn't get thought up as, well, originally I guess the X came from the cross of St. Andrew, which was on a lot of flags. And then they made it the stars in red, white, and blue off the American flag. So that's the tradition of it, but it wasn't like thought up as heritage in the first place, It was basically a flag, hey, we're the Southern, we're the South, and that's what we're standing on. We don't want to be taxed up to the hilt where all our money's going to benefit the North, and the hell with it. It's a tax rebellion flag. I love it in that way. I tell you the truth. That's why I really kind of like it. And I don't know why anybody's not ever, but I also think of it as, the hell with the homeowners association, little old ladies looking outside the window saying, you painted your shutters a different color on the outside of your house, I'm going to report you. And what the hell is this bullshit? I mean, what the hell is this? If somebody's out there using a leaf blower or something on their property, or, they're saying, oh, you're making too much noise. I'm like, holy shit. It's ridiculous. It's a flag against all this kind of crap. That's the way I look at it. And that's why maybe it should stay unpopular, maybe. I'd rather have it with the 1%. But I want the 1% to be anybody that's like-minded. Like, in other words, it's not some white thing or even a Southern thing or even it's a flag of, like, the hell with the bullshit. That's the way I look at it. Now, actually, I brought up some stuff about Louis Farrakhan here just recently. That guy, I don't know what the deal is with him. I think he goes too far in some ways, but then there's something fishy, because I don't think he's stupid. And I'm thinking, how the hell are you freaking supporting the Nation of Islam, of a religion that supported slavery and actually brought your black ancestors over to America? It was part of the apparatus that brought your black ancestors over to America. How the hell are you supporting that shit? It doesn't make sense. It's like, you're freaking saying you're against the Old South, and you're going on to something that's even worse. But I realize something else. What they're doing is, they're pushing Islam because it's a religion of control. You see, that's why I look at this flag as anti-control. Screw the power. But then again, you always got some kind of structure. It's like you got to, obey who the hell your employer is. You got to, listen to rules. You got to listen to rules that are, about fair play and equity and stuff like that. It's not like, total chaos either. We got structure, but excessive structure is bullshit. And that's what I think the flag stands for. Now, I got to bring something up about white privileged bitch Hillary Clinton. I used to not like Bill Clinton a lot because he was a draft dodger, But then I realized about Bill Clinton, I don't really mind him too much, because actually, deep down, the guy gives a damn about people. White privileged bitch Hillary Clinton doesn't. But there's a freaking a really sneaky game going on here behind the scenes with all these top leaders. Like, for instance, Hillary Clinton, her affair with Huma Abedin, she's got connections to the Muslim Brotherhood. The other thing is, we talked about, the email security on our server and stuff, and all the bullshit this bitch got away with. If that was somebody else, they would have been done a long time ago. But Huma Abedin, Muslim Brotherhood, she's another one that is got all kinds of top security clearance to all kinds of stuff that should have never gotten it because she's got all kinds of connections to the Muslim Brotherhood. As a matter of fact, we see what I'm getting at here right now is there's aspects to Islam, like the Muslim Brotherhood, that's worse slavery than even ever existed in the South prior. And that's what they're pushing. And they got black leaders in positions that are indirectly trying to push the majority of blacks in that direction. There's a scam going on. I know it. I don't know how it's being orchestrated from the top exactly, but there's too many different things where you got these top political people, Louis Farrakhan looks like one side of something, but then again he's pushing the same message, Nation of Islam, and indirectly pushing slavery. Hillary Clinton, she talks about women's rights and stuff, man. She was supporting rapists back when she was a young attorney. She was also, she's also, supporting the Saudi family, and she's got, she's lesbian. There's no doubt about that shit. If you freaking weren't born yesterday, you got Huma Abedin. Now she's going to be the main. If Hillary ever got in political office in Washington D.C., Huma is going to be right in there. She's going to have an adjoining bedroom. And policy by the United States is going to be pushed far to Islam, or basically they're going to try to push the USA to a modified Christianity Islam. But the whole game is control. Screw control. See, that's why I like this flag in this way. See, that's how I look at this flag. And I think a lot of people are saying, oh, it wasn't about heritage, it was about... Yeah, I know the legal concept. They're saying it was about heritage, it wasn't about hate. I know they're saying the legal concept of the South was the breakaway over states' rights, right? They're saying that. And, that was the legal concept. But it was, they said to hell with the excessive freaking taxes and all the excess bullshit. I got to tell you right now that I think a lot of times these politicians are nothing but a damn bunch of posers. Abe Lincoln was a poser. That guy who wanted to just preserve the Union, he can care less about the black people. They make it look like he cared. He doesn't care, man. He's fucking bullshit. Actually, even way back in the day, I could almost figure that even a lot of the people that they said they were abolitionists in the North, I think they were full of shit too. Because it's almost like there's these people that got to feel good about themselves to say, I got a cause. They got to say, I'm for world peace. Okay, I'm for world peace too. How the hell do you do it? How do you do it? It was step by step, right? I mean, the thing is, everybody's got, the people were screaming from the Bible about this and that, the injustices of this. But I'm like, how the hell do you freaking fix it? When it comes down to it, you actually got to grab the wrench and get down there and, turn the bolts and fix the situation. You can't just talk about it. That's one reason I kind of don't like doing too many of these videos, because it is talk. But I'm telling you an angle these other yo-yos aren't telling you. And, the situation is that they got everybody looking at this, something like this or something else, or whatever it is. This is one issue. But everybody looking at this stuff, and it's like, they got stuff coming now up at us that's even worse. The government healthcare system. Man, they're going to control everybody with that bullshit. That's a tax, basically, too. That's you got to pay for it no matter what, right? It's a tax. That's what it is. And, people will say, as long as I get something out of it better than what I'm putting into it, they won't mind. That's usually what happens. But then again, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be paying a hell of a lot more and not getting shit out of it, too. So, I mean, they're looking, and, anytime the government gets involved in something, it's like you give them $100, and what comes out of it in benefits is like $3.98 because of all the bureaucratic red tape. That's why you're just better off doing it, just do it, damn it, you know what I mean? But what looks like is coming up is like the powers that be are actually behind certain aspects of Islam, and that's why they got Obama in office. Obama didn't come out of just left field, populist movement. They made it look like it was that way. That guy is actually part of an overall plan. I'm pretty sure of it. And part of the overall plan is actually, to create nuclear weapons in the Middle East. There'll be a major conflict. There'll be the industrial military complex will benefit. There'll be more Americans killed over that bullshit. Serious, man. So, I would like more. Well, do whatever you want, but I don't look at this flag like. I don't think I look at it exactly like the same as a lot of people. I don't think of it as heritage. Actually, I'm from New Jersey, even though my lineage. I got my father's side. He's from South Carolina. And they go all the way back to the Civil War, and before that, they go back to the American Revolution. Actually, the oldest guy that was in my family lineage that was actually in the Civil War briefly, his sons were in it a lot, and I'm surprised they survived. His grandfather was a young guy in Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston, South Carolina, fighting against the British siege. And he was very young at the time, and he was also there with his father, and his father actually enlisted in the, was it Captain Wise's Rangers. So it was only like 2 generations back, 2 or 3, basically 3 at the most, from the Civil War between the states, that the same people were fighting against the British over the tea tax. See, these guys in the North, they try to rewrite the history and stuff. These guys are full of shit. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I'll tell you one thing. The one thing you really ought to stick up to more than anything is family. Now, I got to tell you, man, I'm going to be bluntly honest. It's kind of weird, too. I'd say most of my family, I can't freaking trust worth a shit. That's the way they are. So, I avoid it. But I got one nephew that he's half black. Now, that kid, I'll tell you one thing. I'd stick up for him major because I could see there was some shit, and it pisses me off because I see some yo-yo white bitch that's a teacher in school trying to get him in trouble over some shit that some other little kid said that he did that he didn't do. And, to tell you the truth, it pisses me the hell off. Now, maybe I can get away with more shit because I'm white or something, maybe. But I could tell you one thing. I'd stick up for that kid more than anybody in my entire family. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And, the situation is, the way I look at it, it's family counts first. Now, I can tell you one thing that's kind of interesting about that guy. He's like half black, right? And he's like, his father's got a little Irish in him too, right? And I don't know what he looks like exactly, but a lot of the Italians love him because he reminds them of a Sicilian kid. They love him. And there's a lot of Sicilians in the family, a lot of Italians and shit like that. I don't have the light skin tan or nothing like that, but, I'm half Italian. But thing is, it's like, I don't look at it that way. I don't look at it the way, like, typical people do. And, people are looking at this flag like, I look at this, I like it because right now it means if you flag this flag, you are an outcast, you're a 1%er, you don't give a shit about what the powers say, you're fighting for, I know some people, I don't think of it as hate or slavery, I look at it as you're fighting the powers. I think you're fighting for freedom. For economic freedom In other words, when somebody up there is going to say, we're going to take 35% of your freaking wealth over some, because we decide to, fight them. Fight them. And where's it go to? The privileged aristocracy in the political world. And that's exactly what's going to go on if they push this Islam bullshit. Because I'll give you another example. I'll tell you another one I think is an operative too. Besides like Hillary and Louis Farrakhan, his brother Nathaniel guy. I never seen him say one criticism of like the Chinese elite, which are, they put people in prisons, the slave camps, the Lao guy. He didn't say one word against this guy. He didn't say nothing against, what they do in Iran. And, like, we had that, what was that, about 6 months ago, that kid was a grandson of one of the religious clerics in Iran. He's driving a Porsche. His girlfriend's driving it, and they're slamming a wall at high speed, and they die. How does a kid get the freaking money? Because he's the grandson of a cleric? I mean, they're making you look at what happened in the South, and I'll tell you, what happened in the South is probably way less than what's going to happen in the future. The Northern, I have to say it is the Northern, no, it's not the Northern, it's just a freaking, well, it's like this. The higher up in money they go, the higher up they go. I don't give a damn if it's religion or, what it is. The higher up they are, the more money they got, the worse they are. The reason the South generally probably was better than the North because they didn't have as much money. Generally speaking. So, the movies and Spielberg, they like to lie about different things and make you freaking think one way. It's all conditioning. But, I'm going to tell you right now that, the flag actually to me is a rebellion against taxes, against freaking stupid rules beyond. And you got to have some rules. And you got to have somebody in charge. You got to have instructors. You got to obey your employers and your governmental rules. But there can't be too many of them. And that's why I think this flag was basically about the spirit of the 1776 all over again. More, because they try to tax people too much. Slavery was out the door as it was. It was moving out the door as it was before they had the Civil War. It was moving out the door. And I don't want to even get into so much the defensive issue about, talking about Abe Lincoln never freeing a slave in the North, and Delaware being the last state in the North to actually abolish slavery, which was on the side of the Union. Talk about hypocritical bullshit. But they got new stuff coming up today. I look at Islam as a form of slavery. It's going to be, they're going to extract money out of you, and you're going to have a religious hierarchy. You're going to call it something else. They're going to be like the masters. They're going to be freaking owning everybody. They're going to be like, if you know me, you can get away with anything. But if you don't know me, or if you're not one of my family, you can't get away with it. You can't get away with squat. And we're going to put the hammer down on you. So I don't know. I just want to put this message out because it's something people aren't doing. They're not seeing the whole damn picture. I look at past history ain't gonna really hurt you so much as what they got, unless they got something coming up that's worse and they're telling you different lies about past history to keep you diverted. I'm gonna tell you right now that the stuff that we got coming up with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, where they're exporting U.S. jobs overseas, and the stuff that's coming up in the governmental health care, where they're probably gonna make it illegal to try to even get vitamins and herbal remedies. It's worst. It's worst. I'd rather be living back in the 1800s, for crying out loud, practically. Or maybe the 1950s or something, or 60s or something. Because the kind of shit that's coming up in this new age of controls is being accentuated by, electronic methods and communication. I mean, they're going to know everything everybody does. I don't like it. So I look at it like, we got to rebel against this shit, but we got to also see what we're rebelling against. Pretty much all these politicians, I don't even trust Trump, to tell you the truth. I don't know what the deal is with him, man. I ain't 100% sure. I don't trust any of them. You know what it comes right down to is government should have no damn business running like a myopic manager of every aspect of your life. It's up to us. You know, your own family runs your life. You know, that's what I mean. You stay with your own friends and family, your neighborhood, and that's it. Nothing else. You don't need too much excessive government. And that's really what this flag stands for. The hell with all the excessive bullshit rules and the freaking power freaks. So, I don't know. Hopefully you agree. You know, if you don't agree with it, you're not going to agree with it. But that's how I look at it.